Hello and welcome to another episode of Leah Talk. And today we are joined by Joy. So, Joy, can you just let us know who you are and what you do?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. So, my name is Joy and I'm a mindset mentor. So, originally, I studied clinical psychology for my master's degree and I went into the mental health route. And then I decided that I just didn't find the framework to work. So, I decided to go off on my own.
Amazing. So, very similar to what you were doing then, I guess, with the mental health, but you've just kind of put your own twist on it. Is that right?
Yeah, really similar to what I was doing. So originally what I was doing was working, it was within a mental health hospital, specifically with young girls with eating disorders,
Mhm.
which was really interesting. It is as interesting as it sounds.
Yeah.
And it was really fulfilling as well. And I absolutely loved what I did, but I just felt like within the framework that I was given within the NHS, there was only so much work I could do. And it didn't really allow me the flexibility or the freedom to do what I felt like would actually help and would actually work.
Hmm.
So I kind of eventually just left it feeling really burnt out and just kind of exhausted from not feeling like I was being able to do my best.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, because when you're working for somebody else or for another company, you kind of do have to follow their rules and the way that they do things, don't you? So, yeah,
Yeah.
to go off on your own, I guess you can put your whole spin on it yourself and exactly what you know helps the person. Do you still work with a lot of people with eating disorders then, or is it more about the mindset stuff?
So I don't work specifically with people with eating disorders now. Right now, currently, what I'm working on, which seems to be like a lot of my clients are struggling with, is anxiety, and kind of perfectionism, people pleasing. Although I always say to my clients, I'm like, okay, so you call yourself a people pleaser. How many people are pleased with you?
Yes, good
And that
question.
always gets them, and they're like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, that's the thing. Like, you can't make everyone happy, right? So you've got to make yourself happy. So I think that's kind of more what I'm focused on now is just trying to find the small moments of joy and the small moments of happiness within all of our lives.
Yes, yeah, I love that because most of the time you have to work on yourself, and when you work on yourself and you make you happy, you actually end up making other people around you happy anyway. So if you're constantly trying to please everybody else, you're just burning yourself out, and that has an effect on everybody else. So you do go a lot more into the, I guess, spiritual side of things, do you?
Yes. My journey with spirituality is a really strange one because I always considered myself to be a very logical, like evidence-based, like, how does this work?
Mhm.
That doesn't make sense. Like, if I can't see it, I don't believe it. And then I kind of found that everything that was evidence-based didn't seem to be working as well as I thought it was. And I remember in one of the sessions I had with my own therapist back when I was in therapy, and she told me that I needed to get into my body. And I remember being like, what do you mean? Like, I'm in my body every day.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, like, you're intellectualizing everything and everything's up here, but your body remembers the trauma and it's actually trapped inside physically. And I remember her telling me to just start off with going for walks after our session. So she said, just decompress, just go for a walk. And so that's what I started off doing. And strangely, I just felt so much more relaxed. And I felt my thoughts started to organize themselves whilst I was walking. And that's when I was like, hold on, there might be some truth to this. I need to look more into it. And then eventually I kind of went into the whole world of like crystals, card pulling, EFT tapping. And then it was just like I got pulled into the vortex and I never looked back.
I love that because most people do start with like one of those things. Like they'll find out about one of them, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, where else does this take me? And then you go down, yeah, yoga and meditation and tapping and everything else that they are very related. They are all focused on the same kind of thing. But yeah, I love what your therapist said because obviously nature is very healing anyway. So getting out in nature is one of
Mm.
the best things that you could do. So that's how you started your spiritual side then. So how do you bring that
Yeah.
into your mindset mentoring?
So what I do a lot of the time is I ask my patients, like, where do you feel that in your body, in your physical body? And the idea is to kind of get them out of their heads and get them physically into their body. And a lot of the time, if it's kind of regulating your nervous system, some sort of physical movement usually helps. So some of them, it's yoga, stretching. That's really popular for a lot of people. Another one is just dance. Like sometimes I'm just like, get up and literally just shake. And they start to kind of start off with that. And then depending on what they need, we'll go into maybe implementing mindfulness in their day. Or for some of them, it can be guided meditation, or it can just be breath work. So it will literally just be sitting there, deep breathing, like, breathe in for 5 seconds, breathe out for 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because even breathing, you're like moving your chest and it's allowing that energy to kind of flow through, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I think people underestimate like the power of our breath so much. Like when you're
Yes.
feeling really stressed or anxious or nervous, just if you just stand there and you literally just breathe,
Mm-hmm.
you will immediately feel like more air in your lungs, your airways will like loosen up. So
Yeah.
it's massive, massive help.
Yes. So what would you say to somebody listening, I guess, who how do you know that somebody needs mindset coaching? Like what are the things that you're looking at that somebody might go, oh, that's me. Maybe I need mindset coaching.
So, what I would say is when it comes to mindset coaching, it's usually somebody who feels like there's a missing link within their life. Like maybe they have everything that they technically should to be happy. So they've got a good job, they have a great partner, they've got family and friends who support them, but there's still a feeling of like lack. There's still a feeling of not being good enough. They are always telling themselves they can't do something. They're never really pushing themselves out their comfort zone. They never say no, which is a massive one for especially us women, is struggling with saying no, setting boundaries. They will run themselves into the ground, deplete their energy levels, be totally exhausted because all they've been doing is just giving, giving, giving. And they have this notion that by rejecting themselves, by rejecting their needs, that's kindness when it's not. And this idea that they're kind of filling up everyone's cup. So in that way, I think there's probably a lot of women that will listen to this and be like, I can probably resonate. And that's why I say I feel like most people can benefit from mindset coaching in some way because we can all work on our confidence, on our self-esteem, setting better boundaries, and also just having that kind of belief in ourselves that what we want for our lives, we are in control of it and we can actually get it if we, put in the work.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, so many people are going to relate to this. And because it's a shame because so many people can relate to this, you can see that it's just drilled into us that that is life now. That is what we are like every single day. The world is constantly go, go, go. So yeah, yeah, it's good to know. I'm sure most people listening can definitely relate to at least one thing that you've said there.
Yeah, I think it's so common and it's a shame. Like I always say this, like just because it's common doesn't mean it's normal or
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean it's like the right way, right? Like so many people are like sleep deprived or they are like, oh, I have no time for myself. And it's like this badge of honor, which I definitely wore for years, which was just, I have no time for myself. I'm super busy. I'm super stretched. I've got a full calendar, like great. Because in my head, I was like, I'm doing so much that finally means I'm good enough. Like that finally means I'm worthy. Like, where's my badge? And then you kind of end up and you realize the badge is just burnout, exhaustion, you're resentful, you're frustrated, and you're like, hold on, this isn't what I expected. This isn't what I kind of came in here with the thought of. And that's when you realize you've got to fill your own cup. You've got to take care of yourself to be able to take care of anyone else around you.
Yeah, and it's really easy to feel guilty, isn't it, for taking that time out for yourself. And I got a really rubbish sleep last night. We've moved to a new area and my cat has decided that every single night he's going to bring in a mouse. So midnight or 2 o'clock in the morning, running around the house going crazy. So then I've always got rescue mice. And so I'm not getting much sleep. So dropping my daughter off to school this morning, I came in and I actually thought I have got like so much work and stuff to do. And I thought, I'm going to sit for 30 minutes. I am just going to sit. And I did it. And I did feel a little bit guilty. And then I tried to snap myself out of it. And I'm like, no, your body is telling you you need to rest and do it.
Yeah, no, but that's brilliant. It's so true because I feel like it's so easy for us to feel guilty And in a way, it's been kind of societally conditioned into us as well as young girls from like a young age of going into school. And like we're given a huge sense of responsibility, from when we're young. And the whole idea that what we do depends on how somebody else feels. And we need to be really mindful and really careful, which in some ways is great because obviously we need a functioning society and where we're considering other people's feelings and, we're being open. But at the same time, we lose our own sense of self because we just feel like really all we're doing, our purpose is just serving this wider group of people. But it's like, what about you within that? Who's taking care of you? Who's looking out for you?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. This is why it's so important, isn't it? That we do have to start with ourselves before focusing on other people. So if anybody listening is obviously resonating with all this, I guess what are the signs then that's like the opposite? Like, once you've gone through this mindset shift, like what kind of things would you expect in your life then?
I feel like you, in certain ways, will feel like a different person, but you'll also feel like who you've always been, but like behind closed doors, or maybe just with certain people, or maybe just when you feel really comfortable, you'll be able to be who you truly are just all the time. And that looks like not caring about people's opinions, not being held back, or being afraid of failure, of not being good at something, or being really cringe. I feel like that was a massive one for me. I was always like, I don't want to be like cringe, or I don't want people to look at me or see me on Instagram and be like, oh my God, her. And I hated it. Whereas like now I look at it and I'm like, oh, well, they're just not my people. Like it's fine. I'm going to be cringe to some people and then to some people I won't. That's just the way of life. And like the mindset shift has been the biggest one. It's kind of feeling confident about within yourself. You don't have to be perfect. This notion of like, I see so many glow up challenges on Instagram and I just want to scream. Like, just if you have this hair and you have this outfit and you wear like the cute athleisure set and you have the right Stanley cup and like you wear the right lip balm and have the right blush, then like you've glowed up and you're finally worthy. But I think when you get out of this, that it's the realization that you're perfect just the way you are. You're comfortable with yourself. You can set those boundaries. You finally feel good enough. You feel like you can do whatever it is that you want, and you're just not held back by that voice that used to be the voice in your head telling you can't do it is a voice like cheering you on. So
Yeah.
you've gone from being like your harshest critic to your biggest cheerleader. I would say that is probably the transformation that most people would get.
Yes, yeah. And don't you just like, I hear those words, I'm like, yes, that is what every woman should be feeling, like confident and just putting themselves out there the way that they want to, because it is so easy to, I guess, judge yourself and compare yourself to other people. And as you were saying that actually about like the Stanley Cup and the lip gloss and stuff, I just imagined then like someone stood outside in their pajamas with their hair all messy and just feeling that confident, but not looking
Yeah,
that way.
yeah, and like we all should be because how boring would it be? And like I sometimes find that if I'm scrolling through Instagram, I just feel like my feed looks the same. Everyone looks the same, and the houses are all the same, and everyone's got like really pretty. Don't get me wrong, really pretty like neutral feeds. But I'm just like, where's your personality though? Like I know there's more to you than just that,
Yeah. Yes, I am
and
so
that's
fed
what
up
I'm
of the
looking
like,
for.
yeah, I'm so fed up of the bland feeds, the browns and creams. Yes, it looks pretty, but it is also like, where is everything else?
Yeah, like where is everything in your house? Like, is it always that tidy and that like everything's perfect and there's no cat hair and that you've lint rollered or everything? Like, where is the reality? Because it's just not, it's not real. And I feel like the more people see that, the more people have this image in their mind of what they're working towards, or they think, oh, well, if my house looked like that, oh, I'd finally be happy. Like, oh, and then it creates a feeling of lack because they either feel like, maybe they can't afford those things, or maybe that's just not the reality in what they're living in. Like,
Yeah.
especially if you've got children,
Hmm.
you're going to have toys and you're going to be playing around with them, and it's sometimes going to be messy, and that's totally normal. But if you never see that and you're never exposed to it, and all you see are like these perfect curated feeds, that just feeds on top of all of the trauma, all of the negative self-talk that you've probably already got and it's already conditioned in you to not feel good enough. There's another thing where you look and you're like, oh, there's like the perfect mum in her like business power suit, and her baby who's dressed like super perfect. And It's been 2 weeks since she's had a child and she's like tiny and dropped all the weight and got surfboard abs. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, great. Now I need to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it's comparing, isn't it? You just see all these things and you do think that that is what your life should look like as well. But in reality, people's lives don't look like that. And most of the time, these people with like pictures and videos of, like you said, the perfect kitchen or stuff like that, that's behind the screen and you don't know what's on the other side of that. Like I do this sometimes when I'm
Mm.
teaching yoga. My yoga space looks amazing. If I turn the camera around, it's a state on the other side of the room. Like it's, yeah, it's getting that different perspective as well, isn't it? So what kind of things do you add into your daily routine to kind of help with the mindset shift? Like is there certain things that you do every single day to help you?
So for me, the biggest thing is like a morning routine. So I built like a really, and it's really cliche, like everyone's got a morning routine, but it's so important. Like it, when you do it, you just realize that you can't go back to not doing it.
Mhm.
For me, it's like my day is so busy with doing things for other people. So whether that's at my 9 to 5, or whether that's mentoring with my clients, or whether that's cooking for my family, like whatever it is, taking care of my cat, it's always like giving to other people. And I feel like, anyway, throughout the day, my phone's always going off. There's constant notifications. There's like music on in the background. Someone's trying to talk to me. I'm always distracted. Whereas in the morning is like my time. It's dead silent. I wake up usually before anyone else is awake in my house. So it's really nice and quiet. And even just being alone, like sometimes if I don't have any energy for my morning routine, I wake up and I'm like, I'm so exhausted. I will literally be like, okay, I'm just going to sit. And even just sitting in peace and quiet without any digital like phones, TVs, anything, or anybody's voice, even just sitting there with my own thoughts is so therapeutic. But if I do have the energy, then I'll usually do my morning routine, which for me consists of meditation. So I do like a guided meditation sometimes. Sometimes I'll literally just sit there and just kind of let my thoughts wander and just breathe. That I found has helped me slow down massively, because I am one of those people where I have a constant running to-do list in my mind. So all day that script is just running on. I'm like, need to do this, need to do this. So that time is like it's quiet. It's just I shut all of that off. I just really tune into my body, tune into my breath, and I just give myself that time. The next thing would probably be before bed. What I usually do is I read. So when I was a kid, I used to absolutely love reading. And as I grew up and I started like going to uni, I felt like I was reading so much that I just was like, I don't want to read anymore. And then I eventually started to read kind of like self-help books, and all of that was really great. But what I realized is actually what I needed was to kind of go back into what I used to do when I was a child and read like fantasy novels or romance novels, and something that would just take me out of where I was and just transport me, and it just completely relaxes me. So I would say, yeah, kind of meditation, deep breathing, and just doing a hobby that I really enjoy, which for me is reading.
Yeah. Yep. I love all that. And especially what you said about the reading as well. And like reading self help books and stuff are great. But if you can take your mind out of your life for a little bit, that is so, so powerful because we are constantly like, if you're reading a self-help book, you're doing that to improve yourself. That's work, really, isn't it? That's inner
Yeah.
work, which can be exhausting. So you need to find that thing to actually slow you down and yeah, take you away from it all. I absolutely love that. So are there, I was going to say, there might be similar to what you've already said, actually, but are there like three bits of advice that you would give somebody that, I don't know, that you could share with, helping them with their mindset?
Okay, so my three pieces of advice would be watch your self-talk. That's my biggest one. So watch the thoughts that come up in your mind. Just take note of them. Just start to become aware. Like when something bad happens, say you spill something or you make a mistake or somebody's disappointed in you, I want you to start to notice what you think. Like, are those self-critical thoughts? And just note them down. And you don't need to think any deeper into it. Literally just note those down. And then when you have around 10, take out some time for yourself and sit down and read those thoughts. And now imagine yourself saying them to a friend, or imagine yourself saying them to somebody you really love. And that could be a pet or a family member or your child. And think about how you would feel saying them, and think about how they would feel hearing them.
Mhm.
And when you do that, you realize that you would never speak to anyone, well, most of us wouldn't speak to anyone in the way that we speak to ourselves, but it becomes really easy. So I would say that's the first thing. It's a really good way to catch yourself. And then what you can from then do is reframe those thoughts. So replace them with, a more positive thought, or if positive feels too fake, or it feels like I would never say that, ew, cringe, then try and reframe it with a neutral thought. So it can literally just be, oh, I made a mistake. Yeah, okay, well, what am I going to do about it? That's it. And so you can just keep it really simple, really neutral, and then slowly work your way up. That's one thing. Second thing I would say when it comes to mindset is to stop comparing yourself, which I know is really easy, but a good way to do it is go onto your social media and detox. Like, get rid of all the accounts that you compare yourself to, get rid of all the people that make you feel bad, and follow, because there's loads of people out there who are great creators for, like, in terms of confidence or mental health. There's loads of people out there whose content will make you feel great, who, if you actually find yourself scrolling on social media, which we all do, when you're procrastinating, it will actually fuel your self-love journey, and it will fuel your confidence, because you'll be looking at all these positive things, which is then that's what's sitting in your mind subconsciously. So I would say that's another really good tip. And then thirdly, I would say find one thing that you do purely just because you enjoy it. You can be so crap at it, like you can be awful at it. You don't need to be good. Like, just find a hobby that you just enjoy, and you don't make money from it. You're not profiting from it. You're not recording it. No, like, switch off all your distractions and just do it in the moment. Be really, really present, and just do it because it's fun, and for no other reason at all, because we all need a lot more fun in our lives.
Yes, I love all of them. They are such amazing tips. I think a lot of us do forget to actually do something for yourself, especially like, not a lot of people listening to this are going to be busy parents, and it's really, really difficult to find that time. But, it can be something that doesn't take that much time. Like at the minute, I've started to try and do gardening. I'm rubbish at it. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to grow these vegetables, but I'm trying. And it's fun
Yeah.
to try and fun to kind of see the process at the end, unless bugs get it, but that's something else to work on. So it's fun to do something just for you. So yeah, finding time, even if it is just like 5 minutes a day, is really, really good for your mindset. Is there anything else that you would like to add that maybe we haven't spoken about that could help somebody listening about mindset?
Oh, I would say probably something that I found really helpful in my own journey, and I think it helps a lot of people, is to know that that negative voice in your head isn't you. So I know when you hear these thoughts, or you hear like, oh, you can't, like, I can't do that, or oh no, I can't, I don't look this way, or oh, I wish I could lose like 20 pounds, or I wish my nose was slimmer, or I had longer hair, whatever it is, that sounds like you in your mind, but it's not you. So that voice in our mind is built up from your childhood, and it's built up in our subconscious mind, and it's everyone else's voices. So it usually starts off with your kind of parental caregivers. That can be like your mom or your dad or your grandparents or whoever took care of you as a child. And then it usually branches out to siblings and then friends. So this voice that's telling you you can't isn't your voice. Like, it's somebody else's. So you can let go of it. You don't need to hold on to it. You don't need to listen to it or give it the power that it knows all. And like, no, like 100%, I know I can't do it and it feels really real. Remind yourself that it's not your voice. It's literally subconscious programming from all these little hints you've picked up from body language, and also from what people have said from when you're really young as well. Like, and it can be as simple as your mum maybe attempting something, or seeing your mum as a young girl looking at herself in the mirror and, like, criticizing her body, or maybe pulling on her tummy and going, oh, like, I can't wear a bikini, look at me. So then you learn that voice, but it's not yours to hold. It's okay. And you can let go of it. And when you hear it, tell yourself, oh, that's not me.
Yeah.
That's not me. And then give yourself the positive affirmations, give yourself the positive voice and what you really want to hear, because you are in control of those thoughts. You can't control your subconscious, but you can control your conscious mind. So just give yourself another thought. As soon as you pick it up, realize it's not you and say, oh, that's not my voice. I don't need that. It's not helping me right now. I let that go. And instead, I choose to think like this.
Hmm. Yes, that is so powerful, isn't it? Because you don't realize what kind of things get into your mind from, like you said, your mum looking in the mirror or something. Like all these things you don't realize actually are having an effect on you. And this is why it's so important to work on yourself so that your kids aren't picking up on these things as well. So it all starts with you.
100%. Yeah, I couldn't have put it better. Honestly, it all starts with you. And
Hmm.
I know for like a lot of mums, some of them are my clients, and they have a lot of kind of guilt around this, and a lot of them have actually come to seek therapy or mindset coaching because they don't want to push the same kind of negative thought patterns onto their children. But the thing is always this, is there's always room for forgiveness. Like, of course, you want to do better and you want to be better for your child. And I think that's amazing. And I think that's great that you even think that way. And honestly, you want to raise a better generation of children. And I think that's amazing. And you want to do that for your kids, but also show yourself that grace and kindness. Like you didn't know any better. You were trying your best at that point, and that's all you knew with what you had. You tried your best and you're out here, you're trying every day, you're being a parent, you're being, a partner, a sister, a daughter, a employee at work. You're playing all these different roles. So just give yourself some grace and some time. It's not easy and it's not quick. It's not going to happen overnight, but it's definitely worth it. And you deserve to do it for yourself as well.
Yes. Yeah. It all comes down to, I guess, self-love, doesn't it? It's taking care of yourself. Yeah. Amazing. So for anybody listening who maybe wants to get into this, I think that's probably every single person listening right now. Where can they find you? And what is it that you actually, I guess, do that we could join?
So currently I offer one-to-one mentoring, which is essentially it's just one-to-one. So it will be just me working alongside you, and it will be 1 hour per week. And I currently do it in for 3 months. You can obviously extend that if you need it. It's just, I feel like 3 months is the sweet spot. Like we need that time to at least be able to get you into it, really get you to open up and get you to see some transformation. And then after that, if you still feel like you need it, obviously you can extend. And it essentially is just 1 hour of me using a range of kind of therapeutic practices that can be CBT, DBT, and like EDMR as well, alongside more spiritual practices. So I'm definitely not the therapist or coach, should I say, for you if you like someone to just sit there and just nod along. So I'll
Yes.
definitely be giving you feedback,
Feedback.
talking
Yeah.
to you. I'm going to be looking up, when you're saying something and you're telling me a story, I'm going to be taking down notes of really important bits that maybe you may have missed. And
Mhm.
then we're going to be going into that, looking into your childhood, looking into where did all of these come from, but then also building onto what you want your future to look like. So helping you build that and building you a toolkit essentially of success. So right now you're probably carrying around a bag every day. And what we say is in that bag, you've got all of your trauma, your negative self-talk, everything that's happened to you, all of your unresolved hurt. And what I do is take each of them out one by one. We organize them neatly, put them aside, and then we replace them with something. So it's not that you're going to have a completely perfect life and everything's going to be amazing. I definitely can't promise that. But what I can promise is that you'll have all the tools to be able to deal with, the difficult situations, the difficult times, because life isn't perfect. And, we're just trying to make the best of it. And so where you can find me, if you're interested, is I'm on Instagram, and I am also going to be launching on TikTok as well under the same handle. So it will just be joy_mentoring, and you can send me a DM, send me a message, we can have a chat.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I will leave all of Joy's links down in the description below. So feel free to give her a follow, sign up with her if you feel like this is something that you are interested in working on. And if you have any questions about today's topic, then feel free to send her a message. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been amazing.
Thank you.